What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burning Hammer podcast. I'm your host, Mark Izzo, and alongside me, as always, is the other host, Dillon O'Brien. Dillon, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Mark, because just a lot has gone down in wrestling over the last week, and just we have so much to talk about. And we usually do the pod on Tuesdays. Now it's Thursday. We pushed it back a couple of days, and honestly, thank God we did. Because so much has happened in the last 2 days alone. And even yesterday, we were going to do it yesterday, and then we pushed it back another day. So much happened yesterday.
Yeah.
So it ended up just being a good thing that we pushed it back. I'm really excited to be here with Mark and with you, Mark, and talk some wrestling.
Yeah, so this is going, hell yeah. This is going to be a spicy episode, to say the least, because a lot has happened, like you said. But before we get into that, Dillon, it's time for a shirt check. Let me see what you are bearing on your body.
Absolutely, Mark. Today I'm wearing a very classic looking it's from Target, as they say. So it's not one of my, more rare shirts. This is actually a shirt that most people could still probably buy at their local Target. But it is a very cool shirt. It is a classic style WrestleMania t-shirt. Look at that. We got Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, Jake the Snake is on there, the British Bulldog, I believe. I mean, just heads. Roddy Piper, Big Boss Man. We've got heads. I believe it was WrestleMania 7, but don't know for sure. So we'll find out, I guess, if someone is to correct me. But don't quote me on it. But it's a cool shirt, and I enjoy it. And I like the way it feels on my body. Mark, I'd love to see yours.
Yeah, so this is probably one of my favorite wrestling shirts of all time. Definitely has to be a top 3, whichever way you slice it. But it is from one of the more memorable matches to come out of the empty arena sort of cinematic matches, and that is the Stadium Stampede, the first ever Stadium Stampede t-shirt with the Inner Circle winning. Here you go.
There we go. Great shirt.
Yeah.
I lost mine. I don't know. I have one of those too, and I lost it.
Damn. So, in case you don't know, why this shirt is so awesome is because the Inner Circle lost the match, but they made these shirts because they thought they were going to win before the match happened, and then they ended up losing, and then they just had a bunch of t-shirts, so they sold them, and it's incredibly awesome and hilarious. So it's definitely one of the t-shirts I will make sure to keep in my collection forever, and I can't wait to tell my children, who are hopefully going to be into wrestling, the backstory behind this shirt. So before we get into the real spicy stuff of this episode, why don't you head over and make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at @MarkIzzo_wave. You can follow Dillon on Instagram and Twitter at DillO'Brien_wave. You can follow our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Burnt Hammer. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really goes a long way. If you're listening via audio, definitely make sure to leave us a review and subscribe or follow whatever it is that your specific platform does. Now, with business taken care of, let's get dirty. Let's get spicy. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's get into what happened and what has been happening in AEW. Is AEW falling apart? Is AEW crumbling? Who knows? But what I'm talking about is the recent drama that has been unfolding before everyone's eyes in AEW. And it started, the major stuff started Sunday night after All Out. But there were a few little things that happened prior to that. But basically, in case you were living under a rock, or if you don't really pay attention to professional wrestling, then I'll try to explain everything to make sure that you do get it. But following CM Punk's World Championship win over Jon Moxley in the main event of All Out, AEW held a media scrum, which is where wrestlers, after the show, wrestlers go on to talk to the media and answer questions, things like that. And CM Punk had one to remember. He called out he basically aired his dirty laundry with Colt Cabana. Apparently, he's been paying Colt Cabana's bills, and then there's a lot of like legal stuff going on with that. And then he proceeded to call out the EVPs of the company, which is Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, and Hangman Page, saying they went into business for themselves and that they're essentially children. And it was definitely pretty crazy to listen to and to watch it all unfold. If you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. It's on their YouTube channel. I'm sure you can find clips on Twitter or Instagram. And then what happened following that was pretty crazy. Again, this is all reports. What happened with CM Punk that I just said, it's all true. That stuff happened. Well, I don't know if that stuff happened, but he said it happened. Like the video's on there. But this stuff is all what's reported to have happened in the locker room. So after his comments he made, CM Punk went back to his locker room. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega did not like that. So they went up to his locker room to confront him about it. Now, this is where it gets sort of dicey because the two sides are completely different. But what I know is that they confronted him in his locker room and then it got physical. So allegedly, I want to make sure this is all allegedly and just reports. None of this has been made official yet. Allegedly, CM Punk threw punches at Matt Jackson. Ace Steel threw a chair at Nick Jackson that hit him in the eyes and supposedly knocked him out. Ace Steel bit Kenny Omega and pulled his hair, and then they sort of got into it. It was just like a massive brawl in the locker room. Security and other wrestlers had to go break it up. And so following that, I believe it was yesterday, it's been reported that AEW has suspended all of those involved with the fight, including Kenny Omega, Nick and Matt Jackson, Brandon Cutler. I can't remember. There's someone else whose name I am currently forgetting. Pat Buck was also suspended. They haven't given an official word on CM Punk yet or Ace Steel, but they're definitely going to be suspended, if not fired from the company. And it's also been reported that CM Punk suffered an injury in that match. So he's likely going to be out 6 to 8 months. I believe it is like a torn muscle in the arm, possibly like a torn pec. So before we get into what happened on Dynamite, Dill, what are your thoughts on this whole fight in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, first off, pretty crazy, the idea of it all going down. I honestly, over time, I'm trying to figure out exactly how to feel about the situation, especially because like you said, we weren't there, you know what I mean, and we're going all based off reports. But this is just my opinion from what I've seen so far. And like I said, I don't know where there is truth to, you know what I mean, what's true and what's not, but CM Punk was gone from wrestling for, what was it? 9 years?
I believe it was 7.
7 years. 7 years, and he had stadiums full of people chanting his name for that entire time. And then he finally comes back, and especially in these last couple of months, it really seems like he has spit in the face of, I don't know, the people who were chanting his name that entire time. And now you look at promos from back in the day that John Cena, cut on Punk, or someone cut on Punk, and even the promo that apparently Punk was so mad at Hangman about, that Hangman cut on Punk somewhat recently. Like, those all feel like they hit home a little harder after watching all of this go down, with the way Punk acted in that press conference. And like I said, I don't know, like, everything he said could have been true, and that could have just been a complete emotional reaction. Like, I don't know. Like, we don't know. But from a fan's perspective, like, I care about wrestling. I care about the company. I care about the booking. I care about the entertainment. And like, this just is not good for the company. It's not good for anyone involved. It's like, Tony Khan went on to strip, like, the title. We'll get into that, but like, the title, I'll just admit, like, everyone watching this probably knows already, but like, now the world title and the trios titles were vacated on Dynamite. And it's just kind of like, bro, I don't know. It's just kind of a shit show, it seems, and I feel like that's what happens when you don't have veteran presence in the locker room. Almost, I feel like, not that there isn't any, you know what I mean, but they're obviously lacking some sort of leadership over there at AEW. And it came to a head in a situation that is really just embarrassing on behalf of the company. They invested so much into CM Punk. They put the title on him now twice. And he just seems to not really give a fuck anymore, which is fine if he doesn't give a fuck. But if he doesn't, then he should just not wrestle. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and this is coming from a guy who was always a huge CM Punk fan. One of the people screaming his name until about a couple weeks ago, when I was like, dude, what? All right, honestly, what's he doing? Like, I have a lighter with CM Punk's logo on it that I never let anyone light a cigarette with, because I was like, I feel disrespectful to the straight edge superstar. Like, it was kind of a joke, but I didn't let anyone do it. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's just,
the thing that I took away
I'd like to
from
hear your thoughts on it, Mark.
Was, like, everyone knows CM Punk and like what happened with WWE and stuff, and it always felt like the other person or the other company or whoever else was involved, it was always they were the issue. It was never CM Punk. But then, like you said, going back and watching these old, like, promos between CM Punk and Triple H, or CM Punk and Cena, or whoever he was feuding with, and you watch them and you just get a different feeling from it, and it makes you think, wow, like, maybe CM Punk was the issue. I'm not saying it probably wasn't all on Punk, but maybe he's not as innocent as we would like to believe. And I feel like with AEW now, like, yes, every company has issues, but I would say the major issues, the common denominator has been CM Punk. Um, and so it does make the company look really bad. Now, he probably let his emotions get the best of him, because the whole issue, like, yes, he had that issue with Hangman Page, which I didn't think was that big of a deal of what Hank Page said in the promo. And then, because the following week, or actually, no, the week when he cut that promo, this was after that. He called out Hangman Page, and it was unscripted. No one knew who's going to do that. He sat there and he said, "Hangman, if you want your rematch, come out and get it." And then he just, like, sat down in the ring, and then obviously Hangman Page didn't come out because that was not planned. And then he said, "That's not cowboy shit. That's coward shit." And then he proceeded to cut a promo. And all of this talk about people going into business for themselves. Well, it looks like CM Punk just went into business for himself, airing out all of that dirty laundry that should have been handled internally. Now, again, this is all reports. We're not there. We're not in the situation. Maybe they did try to handle it internally and we just don't know. That is, you definitely have to keep that in mind when voicing your opinion about this sort of thing. But again, I just think it's crazy because maybe CM Punk isn't as innocent as we thought he was, because it seems like every place he goes, he's had some major issues with, and it begs the question, what's Tony Khan gonna do? Like, I know everyone got suspended that was involved besides Ace Steel and CM Punk, but um what are they going to do? In my opinion, I tweeted it and I will stand behind this. They need to fire CM Punk. I love CM Punk. I think he's one of the best wrestlers easily of the past decade, but you can't have him in your company, especially when numerous top stars don't want him there. So you're essentially choosing like CM Punk, or you're choosing like 4 or 5 of like your biggest stars, and just keeping someone in the company who everyone hates, that's going to be bad for your the morale of your roster. So, you know, TK Tony Khan, he's going to have some serious um things that he's going to have to address. And honestly, it's fun. I thought it was kind of funny because during that media scrum, uh, TK Tony Khan was like, "I'm not taking this fucking shit anymore." And he's just like was talking about how he's not gonna let people like walk all over him, and that was like right after the CM Punk interview. And so it's just like, dude, like you're letting these guys walk all over you, and it's partially because he's like pretty much the only one in charge, and he's just like, maybe there's too much freedom in there, because it's been said that like they have way more freedom to do, like the wrestlers, they have more freedom to do what they want in AEW, which like is a good thing, but you need someone to like sort of steer the ship and not just let everyone do whatever they
Yeah.
want. So I think that's where like a big issue, and all of the issues really just stem from, is that TK needs to get a hold of his wrestlers. And I know they held another talent meeting on Tuesday, or no, actually it was on Wednesday at like 4 o'clock, and it was led by Moxley, Danielson, and Chris Jericho. So hopefully they can whip up this AEW roster into shape, because I don't know. I don't think AEW is going anywhere anytime soon, but I think the future is looking a little more uncertain with all of this drama that keeps unfolding before our very eyes. And that's not saying, you know, every other wrestling company doesn't have drama. I'm sure they do. I'm just sure they handle it internally and nothing gets exposed out into the world for everyone to make however they will with it. So
yeah, it's at least not. Not. I mean, ideally for a company, you don't got your top guys just fighting each other in the locker room. That's really
yeah,
bad. To quote MJF last night, that's very bad for business.
Yeah. So transitioning into Dynamite, as a result of that, TK kicked off the show. He basically didn't really address it head on. He just said, as a result of what happened on Sunday night, he has vacated the world title and he vacated the trios championships. The match that was originally supposed to be for just a 3-on-3, which was Death Triangle taking on Best Friends, was then for the trios titles. And then they're going to hold a tournament of champions to crown the new AEW champion. And we had the first match of that bracket. But do you think they should have stripped the Elite of the trios titles?
Yeah, probably. I think you need to send a message. You can't I mean, if you didn't, what does it say?
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna suspend them, and yeah, I don't know. I think I think it was the right call. I think it was a little like a fucking oh, I'll show you I'm the owner of this company, like Tony Khan move.
Yeah.
But also, despite that, and despite me thinking Tony Khan is like pretty fucking annoying, just like as a human being, I think it was the right call. I want to disagree with almost everything Tony Khan says at this point, because I kind of just find him annoying. But
yeah, I'm convinced he's a lizard person.
Yeah, lizard person is good. He's kind of just weird, and he I don't know, like he seems like the guy to like cry if the teacher yells at. Like he seems like he was the type of kid to cry when he got yelled at in school.
Yeah, I will say it's also weird. Like recently with how much that he's just been like, I'm richer than Triple H, so like AEW is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That was sort of Chris Jericho and Tony Khan's response to when Triple H during an interview, Triple H he basically I don't remember who was giving the interview, but he asked him about pretty much about AEW, and then he said, I don't watch the entire interview if you wanna see it. But his one line was he was just like, "Yeah, congratulations, AEW beat our developmental system." So he admitted they won. You can decipher that how you will, but in response to that, Chris Jericho was like, "My boss has more money than yours, so like AEW is not going anywhere." Which I don't know. I think it's kind of a weird flex, but I'm gonna try to find the bracket, but best friends who I think should have won the trios titles, they lost to Death Triangle. So now the Bastard Pack is holding two titles, the All Atlantic Championship and now the trios titles. It's going to be interesting to see sort of where they go from here and who's going to challenge them next, because I think that like I said, best friends should have won. I think House of Black should have won the whole tournament to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And look at where we are now. We wouldn't be having this issue. It's released from the company, but it's like heavily conditioned. So I don't know if he's like fully gone or what sort of the details are of the contract or of the release. But AEW doesn't really release that many people who are requested. So he said it's been reported that's for mental health issues. So hopefully he gets the help or that he needs, because mental health is no joke. And at the end of the day, every wrestler's health is more important and is the most important thing. But so the Tournament of Champions to crown the new AEW World Champion goes as follows. Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley automatically make it to the semifinal round. And then it's Hangman Page taking on Bryan Danielson, which happened last night. Danielson ended up picking the victory, advancing. So he will face Chris Jericho. And then on Rampage this Friday, which by the time you're listening to it is tonight, Sammy Guevara is taking on Darby Allin. And the winner of that is going to face Jon Moxley. Dillon, who do you think is going to come out on top in this tournament?
So my thought is that maybe Jericho wins, since like the next feud is going to be MJF, but also I just want Danielson to win. I think I'm going to say Danielson. I'm going to say Tony Khan decides like it's best for the company right now to put it on a guy like Danielson, who is so well respected and thought so highly of by pretty much everybody in the business. You know what I mean? Nobody really has a bad thing to say about Bryan Danielson. So I think he's probably, and I'm not saying you'd be wrong by putting it on Jericho by any means. I think that's probably going to be your finals, Jericho and Danielson. I think it makes the most sense storyline wise, but I think Danielson wins. I think Danielson gets the win.
Well, it can't. They're on opposite. They're facing each other next week.
Then Danielson
so only one can advance to the finals.
Danielson will win the tournament. Then my bad. Okay. Whoever wins that match, I think is going to win.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Danielson versus Moxley in the finals.
Yeah, Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they've had members fight each other, and they've done a really good job at doing that. But I would love to see Danielson as the champ, but I feel like storyline wise, if MJF is going to be the next challenger, it might not be a bad decision to have Chris Jericho become the champ, because they've had their fair share of run-ins, him and MJF, in the past. So I think storyline wise, that might be the best option. But for me personally, I would like to see Danielson
and it's
hold the
also
world
not
title.
like. Also, nobody would be mad about Danielson versus MJF either. Let's get that out of the way too. Like,
and
Chris Jericho makes sense because they've had a pass in AEW, but Danielson versus MJF would be an incredible package. Can you imagine like Danielson trying to like defend the honor of professional wrestling from MJF? It would be amazing.
Yeah. And since like MJF has been talking about going to WWE so much recently, the bidding war of 2024, it would just be cooler because Brian would just be like, I've been over there, man. You don't know what I've gone through. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be sick. Like, if I had to put money on it, I would put money on Danielson coming out on top. I think he deserves it. I think whether it's Moxley, whether it's Danielson, or whether it is Jericho, those seem to be the three leaders in the locker room. So putting the title on any of them is going to be big for the company, and for its future heading forward to hopefully sort of rebuild this company up. And so immediately following Tony Khan's announcement, we heard from MJF. So in case you missed All Out, MJF returned in the casino ladder match. He returned as the Joker. There was a bunch of masked men in all black. Stokely Hathaway climbed up. He grabbed the casino chip, and then a masked man came out and he took the chip from Stokely, and then they walked to the back. And then later on in the night, it was revealed in a very epic fashion that it was MJF. If you haven't watched that part of it yet, definitely make sure to go and watch it because it was done really well. The best part was that after it was just like a little video package, and MJF took the mask off but was facing away from the camera. Then he just tossed his Burberry scarf on, and everyone knew, and they freaked out. And it was awesome. So it's the first time he returned since I think July, when he dropped that epic pipe bomb. And this is the first time we're going to hear from him since July. So it was definitely going to be a can't miss television. And just like every MJF promo, it was insane. He came out wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey. And then he started his promo as a baby face, essentially. He came out, everyone was cheering him. He was playing with the crowd, not really dishing out any insults. And then he was getting the crowd behind him. And I was like, dude, MJF is like a babyface now. And I was kind of cool with it. But then Jon Moxley came out. It was like, cut the shit. You might be fooling everyone else, but like, now's not the time. It's not the place to be doing this. And then Moxley, just with the snap of the finger, turns back to a heel. MJF turns back to heel MJF, dishing out insults after insults. He name drops WWE. He said, I'm going to win that title. I'm going to take it back to a real wrestling company with real wrestlers and real wrestling fans. He said he's going to go back to meet his best friend, the American Nightmare, the roller coaster, Cody Rhodes. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines that he's going to work for the better Khan, which would be Nick Khan, because he's the co-CEO of WWE. And then he said he's going to go work for his favorite wrestler of all time, The Game. And then he went on to say, because that's what's best for business, which is an old thing that they used to do in WWE under the Authority. That was sort of their catchphrase. That's what's best for business. Him and Moxley were set to fight. They're about to go at it. It was really funny because MJF just couldn't get his shirt off.
Bro, he ripped it off. The thing was still on his wrist. He just didn't. Bro, he like wrapped it around the rope and was pulled. It was really funny. So funny. He's awesome, dude. It's so fucking good to have MJF back. Holy shit, dude. He's awesome. I believe everything he says 100%. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't think he's lying in his promos. I really think he's going to go to WWE with full confidence in 2024.
You think
I
so?
don't think bro, yes.
He's
not lying when he says that stuff. It, like, his favorite wrestler ever is Triple H. His, like, Cody Rhodes is, like, his biggest mentor and friend. Like,
yeah. It's funny because, like, just think of how awesome WWE has gotten over the past month, and just like think about where it would be in 2024. You would assume it would be a lot better, and maybe even TV 14. But like you said in the last episode, with because it's looking like they're not going to go to TV 14 yet. But in that interview that I was talking about, where Triple H referenced AEW. What's up?
No, you continue. I'm sorry.
He basically said that he's gonna give you TVMA, but just bleep it out, which we saw with the Riddle promo and Seth Rollins. Which, if you didn't see that, go back and watch that, because essentially Riddle just dropped some F-bombs, but they bleeped it out, which made it sound way cooler. And Seth calling him a bitch a few times was super sweet. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if MJF went over to WWE in 2024. They're gonna have to dish a lot of money out to get him, but like he said, it's gonna be the bidding war of 2024 to see where MJF ends up. I'm a huge fan of MJF. I would say he's probably my favorite wrestler since over like the past 5 or 10 years, because I've just never seen anyone like him. Like, he's like the most heel wrestler I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I think
I've never seen someone as confident as him on the mic.
He'll probably go down as like the best on the mic, because he's like 26 or 27, and he's probably top 3 in the world right now on the mic.
He's going to go down as one of the best heels of all time, I think. And he's going to go to WWE. Because he knows it is best for business, especially like with the shit that's going on now. Like, I don't know. We'll see what it looks like. It's going to be some time, but the possibility of again MJF and WWE in time for WrestleMania 40 in 2024 in Philly gets me a little excited. The possibility of having Cody Rhodes versus MJF in Philly at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that would be nuts. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Early match card prediction. MJF. Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, we'll have to do 40. That. Dude, seriously. I don't think it's not that far fetched. Like, if MJF goes to WWE, his first storyline is him versus Cody.
Yeah, right? It has to be.
Yeah, it's already written.
Yeah, perfect. So I remember the first time I watched MJF wrestle, and it wasn't All In. I think it was the first show after that, which was like Double or Nothing. And he was in the kickoff show. They had like a battle royal, and I just remember him just going in. First of all, he was just beating the crap out of everybody. Second of all, he just cut like the most insane promo before the match. And then I remember they had like a wrestler who didn't have any legs, and he just like in the middle of the match, he was just like, "Come on, Lieutenant Dan, come on, fight me!"
Oh yeah,
and I'll never forget that moment. And I was just like, "Yo, who the hell is this guy?" And then so like after that, I was like, "Dude, I like need to know who MJF is." So then I just like hit YouTube and was just like watching everything, and I would just like watch a bunch of interviews, and I was like, "Dude, this guy is awesome."
Yeah.
So then he quickly became one of my favorites. So it would be cool to see him in WWE. But getting back to Dynamite, we saw a title change. Wheeler Yuta, ROH Pure Champion, was defending his title against Daniel Garcia, who's from Buffalo. The show is in Buffalo. To me, it was fairly obvious he was going to walk out with the title. He ended up beating Wheeler Yuta to become the new ROH pure champion. His second title he's ever held. The other one was the PWG World Championship. They had West Side Gun sing a song as Garcia came out, which was sick. And then it was a hell of a match. Garcia got an insane reaction. And then after the match, Danielson came out, put the belt around him. He shook Garcia's hand, and then Chris Jericho came down and was like, "What the hell are you doing, man?" So it'll be interesting to see. Dillon, I think I know the answer, but do you think that Garcia is going to join the Blackpool Combat Club?
I do. I really do. He needs to. Unless Danielson's going to start Danielson's dojo or something.
Yeah.
Then he needs to join the Blackpool Combat Club. I think he would be a really good final member. Honestly.
Yeah.
Not that he has to be the last member, but for the time being, I think if they rolled with that squad for now, I think it would be really, really good.
I think that if they're going to add Garcia, they're going to have to kick someone out. And I don't think they're going to kick out Yuta, because him and Yuta are essentially, they're very similar in style and age. I think they're only 2 years apart. So that's why, I think Danielson might start his own thing, like you said, like the Danielson Dojo. And it wouldn't surprise me if Garcia is the first member of that. But I don't think, however it unfolds, I don't think Garcia is going to join the Blackpool Combat Club, because and I don't think he's going to stay with the Jericho Appreciation Society either. I think he might go out on his own, which would be cool. I do think he would be an insane fit, and it would be awesome to see him in the Blackpool Combat Club. But I think if Wheeler Yuta's there, they sort of already have that young guy. So I think they would need to let someone walk to bring in Garcia. So I think there's a good chance that Danielson could start his own little faction, his own dojo. Those were the rumors before the Blackpool Combat Club started, calling it the Danielson Dojo. So, like I said, it would be awesome to see Garcia in it. I'm hoping for it because it would be really cool. I think he would be an insane fit. But I don't think it's going to happen. I just think he's going to sort of go out on his own and not join the Blackpool Combat Club, but also leave the Jericho Appreciation Society. One last thing I want to talk about with Dynamite is I feel like they did handle everything fairly well. I thought it was a pretty good show front to back. I think with a lot of controversy, all the drama that's been going on, the core members of the roster were there. You know, MJF, Moxley, Chris Jericho, Danielson appeared. You know, they had the core members, the real locker room leaders out on the show, and I think they did do a pretty good job at sort of trying to put everything behind them and just move forward. And they also sort of touched on things subtly without actually addressing it. So it'll be interesting to see where AEW goes from here. Hopefully they get everything together, get everything where it's supposed to be, tidy everything up, because I don't think AEW is going to go away anytime soon. And I personally really enjoy watching AEW. So
yeah, so do I.
I hope they don't go away, because I feel like they re-sparked a lot of fans' interest in wrestling for sure.
And yeah, above all else, we'll say this: despite in these last I'd say few weeks especially, but months leading up to it, we're starting to really just see the negatives in AEW, and that's really what happens. That's as expected, because over time we kind of we got AEW and it was the new thing. It was our shiny new toy. And then it's been here for a while now, and it's not quite as new anymore. It's not quite as shiny, and we're starting to see the negatives in it. But that doesn't mean it's not still one of our favorite toys, man. Right now, I do really love watching AEW, and I think they have made a lot of bad decisions recently. Some of the people that represent that company, but I'm hoping for the best for the company, because like I said, it's not bad for the pro wrestling business at all. I love it. More wrestling is always good, especially, a company that can compete on the level of some of the other ones. So I'm excited to see where they go. And I think ending Dynamite with that Garcia win was definitely, it was like a really, really nice way to end the night, which had a lot of chaos leading up to it.
Yeah. And I think like the perfect way I saw someone sort of reference it as was like the honeymoon phase of AEW is over. So
Yeah.
like fans are demanding more. And like you said, the toy isn't as shiny as it was, but that doesn't
No, yeah.
mean that we don't like the toy. And I think it's partially because I feel like a lot of it started once Triple H took over in WWE and WWE stepped it up. So then it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe AEW isn't as good as we thought it was.
Yeah. It's and like we said, and right now, this new era of WWE, that's new, and that's our new thing. And it's just it's a really excited time to be a wrestling fan. And all I know is all I know is I'm excited for this to continue, because all I know is that above all else, when it comes to the content and it comes to the matches, we've been getting some really, really, really good wrestling matches. We've been getting really, really good promos from really good talent. And it's the best time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, and you saw even one of the best wrestlers in the business and one of the best wrestlers of the year say it was Seth Rollins. He like sent out a tweet that was like, "There's been so much good wrestling on TV recently," and then he
Hmm.
just mentioned some matches, some NXT matches, some WWE matches. Then he even mentioned the Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory. So it is a good time to be a wrestling fan. Now more than ever, it's easier to find wrestling, and I'm sure you can find something that you like even outside of AEW and WWE. There's so many good professional wrestling companies out there, so don't be afraid to venture out and sort of step away from the major companies. Um, all right, we are going to transition to WWE Clash at the Castle. Me and Dillon got to watch it together. It was an insane show. It was really, really good. And we're going to give you our grades and review for the entire premium live event. Dillon, is there anything you want to say before we sort of get started into this?
Also, I'll just start with this. That UK crowd was hot, man. Like, that was an awesome crowd. In my opinion, the UK have earned themselves a WrestleMania. I would love to see it. I would love to watch a UK WrestleMania. I think like that crowd was so amazing. With the like, I just wanted to specifically point out. Also, I mean, the setup, the stage, the castle shaped, like jumbotron. It was just literally insane. And that crowd, some of their chants were just insane. That crowd during the pretty much every match of the night, some of their chants, the Bailey chants were amazing during her match. Seth Rollins directing the choir to sing his song was beautiful, dude. It was an incredible show. So yeah, let's just kick it off from the beginning. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. And so the card, um, to begin with, was very promising, and the biggest thing that stuck out to me was that it was only 6 matches, which is not a bad thing. In fact, I prefer less matches on a pay-per-view-esque show. I'm sort of getting tired of AEW putting on 11 matches on the main card
Bro,
plus 4 on the kickoff. It's
it's like
insane.
it's so much. It's
It's
so that
insane.
yeah, I'll say this yeah.
Um,
We're allowed to
and
talk shit and appreciate um at the same time. And AEW, despite having some and like I said, I guess it's like the pro of it is they've got the roster to put on a bunch of good ass matches. Some of them are unnecessary and they're just so fucking long, bro. Like no one's
yeah,
watching 15 straight wrestling matches.
yeah, and the like my biggest thing with it is that it just makes the pay-per-view or premium live event feel less special because like pay-per-views and like these premium live events are supposed to be like elevated from the weekly shows, and so it's supposed to
Yeah.
be with like matches that you're not getting every week. You get on like the biggest stage, but when you have 11 matches going on like the card, and trust me, we can go down a list and we can pick out numerous matches that just did not need to happen at a pay-per-view, and so like that's just my biggest takeaway. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I've
Yeah.
been meaning to talk about that for a little bit.
Well, yeah, we can well, like, and that's Triple H. One of Triple H's main things that he expresses is presenting the WWE, um, in more of a sports light kind of. He wants it to be seen as more, he wants it to be seen as more of a sport, and in pay per view fights, there isn't 15 matches. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There is not 15 matches. There's a lot of times there isn't even 6, you know what I mean? Like that's what a 6 is a really good amount. Like that's what so I think around that like that and then like 12 I mean, and even this past WrestleMania I think they got it to a good thing. Like didn't they only have 6 matches each night at WrestleMania?
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 6 or 7, I think. I think there might
Yeah,
have
and
only
which is
been a
fine.
total of 14 or
No, which is
13
fine
or
over
14.
2 nights. Yeah, and which is fine. Like I think they've I will say that one thing, and sometimes they go too far. But WWE has, um, especially recently, been really good at making these pay-per-view matches feel special, and
Yeah.
something that, if I'm being honest, like I said, a lot of things I love about AEW. AEW doesn't make their pay-per-view matches feel very special,
Yeah.
especially considering it's just like. And they also have less pay-per-views. That's the thing. They don't have that many. So they need to be elevating them. But anyway, we don't need to keep talking about that. Let's get into this Clash card. It was really fucking awesome.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to apologize in advance if I'm not as smooth on the mic as I usually am because me and Dillon took notes, but I just like didn't write in full sentences. So I'm trying to decipher what I meant at, as I'm saying it. So,
No, yeah, totally.
um, all right. So the first match on the card was Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka taking on Damage Control, which is Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. They didn't reference them as Damage Control via audio, but on like the Jumbotron and stuff, it did say Damage Control, which was a little odd, but on Monday Night Raw, they got a new theme and they were officially Damage Control. So
Yeah.
this match got off to a hot start. Like you said, the crowd was live. They had an epic "Hey Bailey" chant, and she was not having it, but the crowd was alive, and they were especially alive for this match.
Yeah,
So
this was a great kickoff match.
yeah, I'm happy they did it as the kickoff because the crowd they're fresh, they're awake, they're alive, and we definitely saw that with this match. So, Dillon, do you want to give me some of your takeaways from this match?
Yeah, totally. So let me pick this up. Pick up my notebook here. Like I said, one of my biggest notes that I wrote down, and then obviously afterwards we saw on Raw, they referred to them as Damage Control, and they all came out together again. And so that was a main thing, is that we have finally got the name. Damage Control is the name, and on Raw it seems like it got confirmed that it will be Damage CTRL.
Yes,
Which is when they came out. Not that it really matters, but when they came out at Clash, it didn't say that. When they came out at Clash, it said Damage Control, both full words. And then a couple nights later, they came out on Raw and it was shortened. And we had talked about originally, we thought they were going to do the shortened one. The CTRL.
because that's what was originally reported, that WWE filed a trademark for the abbreviated version. I couldn't remember what the abbreviated version was. That's why on the screen I just spelled it out. But
oh no,
it is it is abbreviated.
No, it's CTR. But when they came out originally at Clash, it was spelled fully, like that. And then one thing, Michael Cole, again, WWE in this Triple H era continues to recognize that other that wrestlers, they don't have to name drop companies to recognize that wrestlers have wrestled in places that aren't WWE. And that's what they've been doing, and they've been doing it really well. And we've been trying to say, like, listen, they don't have to name drop these companies. Just don't act like this person isn't somebody we've never heard of before. And Michael Cole made a really nice reference to Asuka and Io Sky's past in Japan when they were in a faction together. And it's just really nice when you hear him do stuff like that. Bliss hit a sunset flip powerbomb from the ropes that looked pretty fucking awesome. And Damage Control, just like throughout the entire match, they had so many team moves, it felt like, didn't it? Like, it felt like even more than like regular, even more than most like normal teams. I felt like almost every other move they did was like a team maneuver, a multiple woman maneuver. And they looked awesome, dude. They looked incredible as a team.
Yeah, that was something that I really took away from the match, was because, like, we said it heading into it that Damage Control, they had to win because we had to establish them as a team. And from the start of the match to the end, they just looked like a team. You know, they didn't look like three individual wrestlers who just happened to come together and were working well together. They had like moves that they were using and that they practiced.
Yeah.
And
it was their first match together.
Yeah. And that's like the biggest thing. Something else that like really is like one of my pet peeves with wrestling is when they have a team who is actually a team. They have them lose to like 2 or 3 wrestlers that just form together to take down a common enemy, which we just saw in AEW with Miro, Sting, and Darby Allin defeating the House of Black, which like really irritated me. And I like wrote it in a blog. Was just like, I'm gonna bet on the team that's actually a team to win, and that's really how it should be. And so, luckily, WWE, in my opinion, did the right thing because Damage Control came out on top in what was a really good match. And like you said, they just looked like they were a well-oiled machine. They worked really well together.
Yeah, they dominated from front to back. Like they were pretty much in control the whole time.
Yeah. And I think you said it, but they were everyone seemed like they got their fair share of offense in, and like everyone also took some damage in the match as well, which was nice to see. And
I felt like everybody in the match really had an opportunity to shine and show their skill set. Like I said, even though Damage Control really did kind of overall kind of just dominate from front to back. Like there was, Asuka was able to show, like Asuka was able to do her thing. Bliss was able to do her thing. Literally every single woman in the match. I remember something. It was like this match had 6 women in it, and I remember something significant that every single one of them did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every single one of them had a moment that, and it was, which is something we don't get a lot from the 6-man tags and 6-woman tags, WWE. And it was really, really nice, and it was really, really cool. And this was a great match. And
even
Bayley,
with
Bianca.
Yeah. And so even with like the Damage Control not having, they're trying to like avoid Bianca Belair coming to the match because she's the Raw Women's Champion. Once she did get into the match, and she did, even with like not being in the match for that much of it, she did get in her offense, and she did ultimately eat the pin from Bayley in a clean fashion, which I thought was very interesting. And if you ask me, that match is happening at Extreme Rules. So I think we're going to get Bayley versus Belair.
Front to back, I think it was front to back, it was a really good match. Damage Control was able to dominate and get the win without having the opponents look that weak. You know what I mean?
And without without any shenanigans or cheating or anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were able to get a clean win without they were able to do it without squashing the opponent or anything, and they were able to do it just because the entire time they were stressing it on commentary, but they didn't even need to because it was so obvious in the moveset and what they were doing that they were just so much more of a team and just knew what they were doing together.
Yeah, and Michael Cole was amazing on the mic as well, as he has been ever since Triple H took over. It's just just do your thing, man. You're Michael Cole. So overall,
you've been doing this for 30 years. He doesn't need a man 20 years older than him telling him what to say every 5 seconds. It's crazy.
And I feel like Cole really just you could tell he got his passion back. He feels more energetic and more passionate. And ultimately, Michael Cole really reminded everyone just how damn good he is on the mic. Dillon, I'm going to preference this by saying I didn't adjust my my grading system here. So this is all immediately after the match. This is what I grade it. So Dillon, what did you give this match?
I gave it an A.
Okay. I gave it an A as well.
But also I don't think it needs. Yeah, I think it deserved it. I think relatively that's how we felt after, and I still think after the card and a week in. I actually rewatched Clash last night.
Nice.
Not even on purpose for this, just because I was just bored and threw it on. I mainly really wanted to rewatch this match and the Gunther Sheamus match, and they're the first 2 matches, so it was really easy. And then once I got through them, I was like, fuck it, I'll watch it all.
So moving on to what I believe was the match of the night. I'm sure you probably agree. It was the Intercontinental Championship match, which was Sheamus, the challenger, taking on the champion, Gunther. If you're going to watch any match from this show, watch this match because it was pretty damn special. Before the match even started, we saw, I forget what his first name, but it might be Giovanni Vinci. Former member of Imperium. Which, if you don't know, they were a very dominant faction in NXT UK and in NXT, but they sort of got separated because they called up Ludwig and they called up Gunther, but then left Vinci, and then they sort of written him off, or they might have released Vinci as well, but
they did release him eventually.
Yeah, so they came back, which was awesome, and they referred to them as Imperium, and they talked about how dominant they were in NXT. If this was, again, under the Triple H regime, they would have acted as if these 3 men have never teamed together before, which was nice to see. And it was surreal watching Imperium back because I love Imperium.
Dude, the way he... ladies and gentlemen... Bro, and dude, Gunther, I want to call him Walter. Which is also his real life name is Walter, by the way.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so what are we doing? Let him be Walter. Gunther's growing on me. I don't hate Gunther. I just
I
Walter's
will say
just easier. It's just easier.
I will say that Gunther said he's not mad that they changed his name to Walter and wants to stay as Gunther because it just shows progression of his character. Because he got into insane shape. If you didn't watch him,
yeah, that
NXT
is true.
UK,
yeah, when he was, honestly, maybe he's no, that was Walter, and now I'm Gunther. It's different.
I just thought Walter was super funny because I feel like Walter's, sorry to offend all of you Walters out there, but I feel like it's more of a nerdy, geeky name.
No, that's why it was just, that's why it was amazing.
And then you have this huge
looking fucking guy,
very intimidating dude. who came out to like classical music, which was the best part. But again, it sounded silly at first, but I'm
I love
really
their
fine
new
with
thing.
Gunther.
I love his new thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And the way, dude, like it really was. So they looked awesome. He looked so awesome in that coat, dude. Like,
yeah,
the way
that
he
coat
walked out
is
and he
insane.
just looked enormous. Like, literally from start to finish, from the time fucking Sheamus's music hit to hit the ring, this match was fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
like from
and
start
so
to finish.
Sheamus was I guess you could say like a hometown kid. In this match, the crowd was completely behind Sheamus, and I will say this match was every bit of brutal and physical as we expected, if not even more.
I was the most excited for this match, actually, and it exceeded my expectations. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
wow. Like,
And like right off the bat, as soon as it started, they were just like slapping the hell out of each other and just like getting physical. You know, you can tell they're being a little more rougher with like the forearms like rubbing in each other's faces, and Sheamus just delivering like body slaps and shit. Walter just giving knife edge chops like it's his job. And it was just awesome, man. It was just awesome.
yeah, dude, it's literally they just beat the hell out of each other for 25 minutes. Like, they just
Yeah.
absolutely beat the piss out of each other. Like, I love the way that Gunther does stuff, because half the shit he does, I feel like, isn't even a fucking move. Like, it's him just like throwing you or hitting you as hard as he can in
Or him just
whatever.
like kicking you too, because
No,
remember,
yeah, like he just hits you and slaps you and punches and kicks you. Just, yeah, when he kicked Sheamus so hard in the head, dude, like, he kicked
yeah,
the
and
shit
like
out of him.
he
The
he delivers
clothesline,
like
like, oh my
yeah,
god, dude.
he delivers an insane shotgun drop kick, and sometimes he'll do it from the top rope, and it's fucking insane. So
Yeah.
definitely just watch a highlight reel of that. My one note, I just wrote insanely stiff. Like this match, they were just slapping the hell out of each other. Sheamus, what's his one move called? The drums of something, where he just beats them with his fist on their chest.
The 10 beats of the Baldrin or something. 10
Whatever
beats of
that.
the bald. Yeah.
Yeah, even those he was like delivering super stiff.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't even talk about. I forgot in the beginning. Sheamus and Walter were having a little standoff. They're staring at each other, and then they each had their two men on their sides who were like drawing at each other. And then they got into a little fight. But then Sheamus and Gunther were just locked eye to
Bro,
eye
that
for
shit
the
was
entire
so awesome.
time.
Yeah, it was
And
really
it
awesome.
was so cool. Yeah, and then like you said, the clothesline.
That might have been the best clothesline I've ever seen, dude.
Dude, in my notes, I just wrote clothesline finish. Holy fuck.
Yeah, dude, it was literally insane.
It was brutal.
And it's like, coming from somebody who has made fun of JBL his entire career for doing the clothesline from hell as his finisher.
Yeah.
Gunther could do that as his finisher as many times as he wanted. No one would complain. That was insane.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about during the match. We were like, how Gunther, like, we feel like he doesn't really have much of a finisher. He just kind of like always does something where you kind of know that that's the finish. And then a few seconds later, he hit that, and both of us audibly went, "Oh my god!" And we were like, "Yeah, that was the finish." Holy dude,
Yeah.
it made a JBL clothesline from hell look like
A clothesline from heaven.
Yeah, made it look like a clothesline made of marshmallows, dude. Like, this, it was fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Like, just
and
that clip alone was insane.
I remember immediately following it, we were just like, "Is that the greatest clothesline we've ever seen?"
I was like, bro, immediately. I think I wrote down possibly the greatest clothesline I've ever seen.
Yeah. Start to finish, this match was awesome. I would definitely recommend this to if you're trying to get a friend who used to watch wrestling, show them this match, and this will definitely get them.
Yeah, this is
back
the
into
definition of a match you show to a non-wrestling fan. Like this
Yeah.
is literally just two men beating the hell out of each other. And like I said, I rewatched it last night. The finish was so fucking cool too, because both men were down in each corner of the ring. They were both so exhausted, like, and you could visibly see it on their bodies, like how beat up they were. Especially Sheamus, and then they and they're just staring at each other as they're slowly getting up, and they just both look angry as hell. And then Gunther just like screams, and they run full speed at each other, and he just fucking hits him with that clothesline, and it's the finish. And I was like, oh my god! Like I rewatched it last night, and I was like, yeah, that was awesome. Like that was incredible.
It and because like what you were saying before about, because we were watching it, and like I've like watched my fair share of Gunther matches, and I was just like, what is his finisher again? And then we were just like, I think he just like hits one massive move, because I've seen him win on the power bomb. I've seen him win on the shotgun drop kick. I've seen him just choke people out. And so we're like, I think he just hits like one massive move, and you just know, all right, game over. That's it. And that move was the clothesline from hell.
Or they called it a lariat. They were like,
I think it is technically. I don't know what the difference is between a lariat and a clothesline. Someone please let us know. But yeah, I think it was technically a lariat. And it was fucking insane.
Probably a lariat is maybe more of like when you run and swing your arm, rather than a clothesline. I guess is theoretically you're just sticking it, like you're just running through and sticking out your arm.
Yeah.
That would be my guess, because a clothesline stands still, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's more to stop them. But anyway, we don't have to talk about it. Doesn't matter.
We'll give you an episode on us trying to figure out what the difference is between a clothesline and lariat. What did you grade this match?
A+, man. A+.
Yeah.
This was, I won't lie, this is one of the. Sorry, no, you say.
I gave it an A++++. I don't know if that's a thing, but I was just that impressed with it. I was like, dude, I don't know. Keep hitting plus.
I'm just saying, like, I know the way I felt watching it live, and I won't lie. So when I watch matches live, I always when I watch matches live, usually that's when you're gonna get your best reaction, obviously. Seeing all that shit for the first time, which is, obvious, like I said. But I just remember, like, I don't know, man, like the way I felt watching that on Saturday, the way I felt during that match was, I just haven't felt that way for a match. Like it's a rare thing. I only feel that way during matches a few times a year. Like, I don't know. There was a thing about this match that just like really, I was so in. And like I said, I love both of these guys. I'm huge fans of both, but I wouldn't put them in like my top 10 favorite wrestlers ever. Like, so I'm not like diehard fans of either of them. I'm just, it was just such a good match, dude. Oh my God. It was just so good. It was just so entertaining. Like they literally just beat the shit out of each other.
I think the biggest thing that I feel like
the crowd was obviously
the crowd was awesome. But I just feel like the presentation of this match was unmatched, because ever since Sheamus won the Fatal 5-Way, everyone's just like, dude, it's going to be like a fight. They're not going to wrestle. Like, it's just going to be a fight. It's going to be brutal.
It was weird. Like, we all had really high expectations, rightfully so, but like
it delivered.
Yeah, it was I don't know. Like, I was almost like, the expectations were so high, I was almost not expecting to be. I didn't expect it to deliver like that. I didn't expect to like feel like, oh my God, this match it's the type of match that makes me feel like a 5-year-old. You know what I mean? The type of match that makes me feel like I'm 8 years old, like watching my favorite guy win the world title for the first time. Like that's like when I was a kid. Like I felt like a kid watching this match. That's the best way to describe it. Every now and then a wrestling match makes me feel like I'm a kid again, and this was one of them.
I also feel like with the entrances too, that really helped a lot.
Oh yeah,
those even with like Sheamus coming out, everyone was pumped. They were just like, it's gonna be a fight. And then with the way Gunther came out with Imperium, and then even after the match, even though Sheamus lost, he got a well-deserved standing ovation, which was really awesome to see, and I'm happy that he got to have his moment with that. And I think this really does a lot for the Intercontinental title, because
that was match of the year for me so far. I don't know. I can't think of a better match this year.
Yeah. And it's just because, like, it just says these two men are willing to go through this much hell just to win the Intercontinental title, which was like the biggest thing. So it's going to be exciting to see the Intercontinental title going forward. Me and Dillon both gave it an A+. Match of the night, possibly match of the year thus far.
I mean, it's definitely going to be a candidate at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the poll. Maybe we'll do our own little awards at the end of the year. I think that would be a cool idea.
Yeah.
Like at the Burning Hammer Awards. But I can almost certainly say that Sheamus versus Gunther is going to be one of the nominees, because that match
has to be.
That match was crazy.
All right, so moving on to the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which was the challenger Shayna Baszler taking on the champion Liv Morgan. I don't know. I thought this match was fine. I feel like I think Shayna Baszler is fairly underutilized in WWE, and I think she has been for quite some time. I think she is underrated. I thought they did a decent job at building to this match, but I don't know. It didn't do it for me. I don't know if it's just because it was following Sheamus and Gunther's match, but I thought it was a decent match at best. What did you think?
So I rewatched it last night, and it still kind of sat the same with me. Maybe I liked it a little more when I rewatched it, but I still think I didn't hate the match. I graded it, I believe, a C+. At this point I stopped writing down grades for some reason on my sheet, so I don't even know what I graded on. But I'm gonna give it. I can't even remember. So actually, don't let me say a grade for the rest of the day, because I really don't remember. I don't want to give a grade if I didn't write it down live. But I wrote down notes for some reason. It was a solid win for Liv. Like, she got a clean win. But I felt like Shayna. I think Shayna had control of the match for a little bit too long. I think Liv maybe should have gotten a little bit more offense in altogether. That was like my main problem with the match, because if you're gonna have her win clean, it doesn't have to be super like rocky underdog, like last couple minutes, hit some offense and then hit your finisher and win. Which is what I kind of felt like it was. Not to say that it was like super unentertaining, and I definitely think that this match was a victim of like coming after match of the night, and especially in that crowd, seeing two people from the home continent in front of them. But the right person won. I'll say that too. Liv got a clean win. Like, that was the right finish. Like, if you told me nothing else about the match, you were like, don't matter. Like, I'm not going to tell you anything else, but Liv Morgan won clean. Then I can at least live with that, because that was the one most important thing of the match, I think, that needed to happen. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I think we're still looking for that dominant victory from Liv, and it's not like she like squeezed out a victory, but she also, like, I feel like didn't wrestle or wasn't in control as much as like a champion would be during this match. So like you said, I think the right woman won. I think it was definitely big to have Liv Morgan get a clean victory. Although I thought it should have probably happened against Ronda Rousey, maybe in a triple threat match, but it's going to be interesting to see where the SmackDown Women's title goes from here, whether that's Ronda Rousey is going to challenge for it. I think we're due for a Charlotte Flair return, so a win against Charlotte Flair would be huge for her career. So in the moment, I gave it a B. I think I'm probably going to drop it down to like a B-. But I mean, like you said, since if all I knew was that Liv Morgan won clean, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to see where they what the future holds for Liv Morgan, whether she's going to face Ronda again or whether she's going to get a returning Charlotte Flair. We shall see. So the next match, probably the match I was least interested in heading into it, but something happened that needed to happen. We have Edge and Rey Mysterio taking on the Judgment Day, which is Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Before we get started in the match, I would just like to declare Rhea Ripley is officially the leader of the group. And I know we talked about it. I don't know how many episodes ago, but
I
we
feel like
talked
we
about
consistently just mention it, but like how they haven't really like distinguished a leader yet. But it seems, and it just from the attitude, it felt like Rhea. But after this weekend, I mean, she was in the middle. She was leading the pack, and especially after Raw,
yeah.
which we'll get into. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that Rhea Ripley is the leader of the group, which is awesome. Which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
She deserves it too. She's the best for the job.
Yeah.
Like,
and because we've like you said, we've been saying it consistently, and maybe not at first. It's like, okay, Finn Balor's the leader because he just joined them and like kicked Edge out, but quickly after it was like Rhea Ripley just feels like the leader.
I think the original plan was probably to make Finn the leader.
Yeah.
They might have not even said it. They might have just been like, we're gonna put Finn in the group. And then maybe Edge, maybe they didn't really, maybe their goal was to put Finn in, and then that's when Edge was maybe like at the same time they were like, all right, Edge wants out, so we're gonna put Finn in to at least like, so I don't know. Like it seemed like maybe their idea was to make Finn the leader when he first joined, but I'm not so sure that was their idea. It could have been they could have been just trying to let it like feel itself out the whole time. Or it could have been Rhea as the plan for the whole time, but I mean, at this point, the decision has been made by the fans, nonetheless, pretty much.
Yeah.
That Rhea Ripley is the leader of Judgment Day.
Yeah, and so I'll say this match was better than I thought it was going to be. And so some notes that I took was to kick off the match, it was Balor and Mysterio. Balor tagged in Damian Priest, and then instead of fighting, Mysterio, Priest walked right over, pointed at Edge, and said, "Let's do this, guy." And then the crowd went ballistic. They loved Edge. Edge got a huge pop. Even when Priest, which is like called him out when he was not the legal man, the crowd went fucking berserk for him. So that was super cool to see. You missed it, but they had Rey Mysterio and Edge had a pretty sick move where Balor and Priest were on the outside, and then Edge was like standing at the ropes closest to them, and then Mysterio went, and then Edge like got him like he's gonna powerbomb him and throw him out onto Priest and Balor, but instead of just tossing him out, Mysterio did like a backflip from the powerbomb, which was pretty fucking ill.
I saw it last night. It was sick.
Yeah. And then Edge hit a 619, and Corey Graves had a great line where like Saxton was just like 619, and Graves was like more like a 519.
Yeah, it wasn't the best 619 I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but
it's a hard move to hit.
But it's a hard move to hit, especially if you're a larger fella.
Yeah,
and Edge is an old white dad now who's allowed to do old white dad shit, I guess.
And the oldest white
doing
dad
stuff like that and coming out in a luchador mask is some pretty old white guy shit. Which is not saying that Edge isn't cool, but it was some pretty old white guy shit. But it was entertaining. So, and we'll let Edge is a legend. Edge can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that was super funny. Another thing I wrote down was the spear through the ropes, which was pretty gnarly. And then to end the match, they did a pretty sick. Mysterio hit a 619, and then who was it? Balor or Priest? I think it was Balor, right? Who ate the pin?
Yeah.
So like instead of like they'll usually fall or just like stand up and Ray will just like jump on them. Mysterio hit him with a 619. He sort of turned right into a spear, which was super sick to finish the match. Mysterio and Edge came out on top, but shortly after the match, Dominic Mysterio didn't seem too pleased, and then we quickly found out why. He delivered a kick to the nuts right to Edge. Edge did it really well because as he was falling, he had a really good like shot of him just like locking eyes with Dominic as he was falling. And then he just delivered another mean clothesline to his father, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
And I remember us
an
both
impressive
being impressed.
Clothesline also.
Yeah. Yes, very impressive.
Fucking destroyed him.
Yeah.
Dude, he really probably was just like, yo, just fucking destroy me, dude. I'll sell it. Like, he was probably like, dude, I'll take the bump hard as shit. Just hit me as hard as you can.
Yeah, Ray was probably like, dude, just fucking clock me. I'll go down and it'll be sick. And even the nut shot to Edge looked kind of stiff, too.
Yeah, it did. They both look stiff.
Yeah. And then obviously he got major heat after that. Everyone was booing him.
He ripped off his Mysterio shirt.
Yep. And then he did not sort of join the Judgment Day immediately after, but on the following Monday Night Raw, it was revealed that he is a part of the Judgment Day.
And the person who revealed it was none other than Rhea Ripley.
Yep,
who,
she
did all the talking for Dominic Mysterio this week, which was really when I feel like, okay, now fully confirmed Rhea Ripley is the leader. She did all the talking on behalf of Judgment Day this week.
Yeah, and she came out and said she turned Dominic into a man. And then Dominic came out wearing like the black button-up hair greased back. Still a mullet though, so it looked kind of odd. But yeah, she did the bidding, she did the talking, she sort of represented Judgment Day, and I think now it's just extremely clear that she is the leader of Judgment Day, which is awesome. She should be the leader. Dillon, you did not grade this match, right?
No.
All right, so I'm going to, in the moment, I gave it a B-, but I'm going to drop it down to a C+ because we got the Dominic heel turn that we wanted and that he needed. Is there anything else you wanted to add for this match?
No, that's it. I mean, really, which just like we were hoping for the Dominic heel turn, and we got it. So,
yeah, similar to the Liv Morgan match, there was really one thing we wanted, and we got it with both matches. So that's the main thing to take away from everything. And so we're going to move on to the match that probably had the best build on the card and possibly of the entire weekend was Matt Riddle taking on Seth Rollins. I was extremely excited for this match. This was probably my second favorite match that I was looking forward to, and I thought it was pretty solid. If you didn't watch any of the build to it, you should definitely watch the interview between Riddle and Rollins on, I believe it was Monday Night Raw. Things got heated. It got personal. That's where we saw Seth Rollins say, "You want to talk about families? Talk about yours. You don't have any because your wife divorced your bitch ass."
And took your kids and they don't want to see you anymore. That's what he said.
Yeah. And then he was just like, "Huh, bitch? Come on, bitch." It just And then Riddle dropped a few F-bombs that got bleeped out, which was cool. He was wait, what did he say? I'm not going to
He's like, "No, bro, I'm not gonna beat you up. I'm gonna fuck you up, bro."
Yeah. And then he was like,
"I'm gonna smash your face in."
Yeah, he was like, "Seth, you don't understand. I'm gonna smash your face in, bro."
Yeah.
So that was pretty sweet. And then right off the bat, in typical Seth fashion, he had by far the best attire of the night. In this insane outfit. I wrote Seth's gear was nutty. And it was awesome. He is quite the showman. He knows how to get buzz surrounding his attire. And I feel like I miss the days where like wrestlers would get special attire just for pay-per-view, because I feel like it really helps elevate the pay-per-views. And I think we're starting to get that a little more with that. Even with Riddle, I feel like they didn't really talk about it. But he had like
the Patrick Star.
Yeah, the Patrick Star thing. And then Graves was like, he was like, Riddle must have thought that we were like going to different Wales or something, because they were in Wales. So
yeah,
it was a bit of a stretch, but it was still kind of funny. What are your notes from this match?
So the main thing I took away from this match is we're definitely getting it's definitely not the last match between the two, and I was happy with the match. I thought it was solid, but just like subjectively between these two men, we know these men can put on a better match. Like it was a good match, it was a solid match, but like I said, subjectively, Seth Rollins is top 5 on the planet, has been for a while now, and Matt Riddle is definitely not a slouch. So I don't think there's any reason that we can't get a top tier A+ match from these two. And I don't think that's what we got. I don't think we got a bad match by any means. I don't think we got an A+ match. But like I said, I think there's this feud is far from over, and we are gonna get part 2 at Extreme Rules, I think, most likely in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I am extremely confident that that's going to main event Extreme Rules, and it'll probably be an Extreme
either that
Rules
or
match.
Cross versus Drew.
I think they would do Seth and Riddle as the main event.
Do you think they're going to do Cross versus Drew there though?
I gotta see. I wrote down my match card predictions. I think they're only going to have like 6 or 7 matches, so
yeah,
I'll have to take a look at it. I think I think that's definitely what's next for McIntyre. Is carrying Cross, so we'll have to see how that sort of all ends up. One thing I wrote down was the buckle bomb into the barricade on the outside was pretty nuts. It Riddle ate it. The finish I thought was pretty good as well. Seth hit a curb stomp from the middle rope, which was pretty fucking sick,
you hit
if you ask me.
Yeah, you hit back-to-back curb stomps, the second one from the middle rope, which was like you said, which was pretty sick, and it did have a good finish. It was a good night. It was a good match. I'd say it was probably my third favorite match of the night. Maybe my third or fourth, actually. But it was a good pay-per-view nonetheless, so that's not hating on it. But my top 2 matches for sure were the first 2. Were the 6-woman tag and the Gunther versus Sheamus. But like I said, this definitely isn't the last meeting we've got between the two guys. So I'm really excited to see them live in Philadelphia, hopefully, at Extreme Rules.
Yeah. That match a B-, and like you said, it definitely was not a bad match, but it's definitely they can put on a better one. And I think part of me thinks it might have just been on purpose. You know, they said let's put on a good match, but let's not show our hand on in this first match, because they know that they're going to be wrestling for a long time. So yeah, overall a pretty good match. And I think you should just watch this match just to see what Seth came out to the ring wearing. So moving on to the what do they refer to it? The undisputed WWE Universal Championship? Is that what they're calling it? It's confusing.
No, they just called him the. Yeah, I guess he's the They don't call it the championship, but they called Roman the undisputed WWE Universal Champion.
Word.
If that makes sense.
So then that was Drew McIntyre taking on Roman Reigns, who is your champion. Before the match, Drew had a pretty cool video package with Broken Dreams, and it got everyone hype. I think Drew is probably the wrestler that they backed the most during this show. And I'll say one thing too. Usually when they do things like that with giving him a video package, they usually will have them come out second. Luckily, they must have listened to our podcast because we've said it before. The champion should always come out second, and they still did that with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns came out alone. No Paul Heyman. He's still recovering from his F5 through the table. And then the Usos and Sami Zayn are recovering from the ass beating that they got from Drew on SmackDown. So it was nice to see Roman just come out alone. So what were your notes from this match?
So I will say throughout this match, it was hard not to get behind Drew with the crowd and root for that Drew McIntyre win. And they did a really good job at giving us plenty of near falls in this match. This was a really good match, honestly. Really entertaining. We had, like I said, a lot of near falls. And then we had an Austin Theory come down as the ref was knocked over. Austin Theory comes down with his own ref. You think he's going to cash in? No, he gets knocked the fuck out by Tyson Fury sitting in the front row.
Before you go forward, we did predict that they were going to separate the belts, and Theory was going to try to cash in, but could only do it for one. He was going to pick the WWE title, thus turning the match into a triple threat between Roman, Drew, and Theory for the WWE title. And when we saw Theory come down, we were pretty pumped because we thought our prediction was going to be true. Like you said, he got rocked by the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury.
He hit him in like the back of the head. Like it might have been like an actual like a legal punch in boxing. But anyway, so he got knocked the fuck out by Tyson Fury. And there was no cash in. And then it looked like Drew McIntyre hits a Claymore. We might be in for a new champion in his home continent. And the crowd is going crazy. 1, 2, oh no. Someone pops out from under the ring, pulls McIntyre away, reveals, or pulls, what was it? Who'd he pull? The ref? It doesn't matter. Anyway, and reveals himself, takes off a hoodie to reveal himself as none other than Solo Sikoa, making his debut on the main roster. Solo Sikoa, if you were unfamiliar, also a cousin of Roman Reigns, younger brother of the Usos, who has been very successful in NXT, and it was just reported that he'd be making his debut on SmackDown as a call-up. He didn't make his debut on SmackDown. He made his debut right there at Clash at the Castle. And Solo Sikoa behind the tribal chief helped him retain his titles. And in the moment, I was very sad for Drew. I wanted Drew to win. I wanted Drew to win for Drew, but they made the right call here in this match, and I truly do think so. Some people aren't happy about it, but I think if you know wrestling, you know that they made the right call here. Other than this match being in the United Kingdom, and I'm a big Drew McIntyre guy. I fucking love Drew McIntyre. Other than this match being in front of a home crowd, Drew never really felt like he was going to be the one to take down Roman Reigns, right? Never really felt like Drew McIntyre was going to be the guy to dethrone the tribal chief. The one thing that he had was the fact that it was in the UK, but other than that, I don't know. I just never really felt it. And by adding Solo Sikoa to the bloodline, and really just emphasizing the depth of the bloodline, I think they made the right call, and I think the right guy walked out with the titles. Some people are getting tired of Roman, and I'm really not. Honestly, I'm really enjoying his reign. And not to say that I don't want him to lose. I just want him to lose to the right guy and at the right time. And I just don't think looking back on it, especially in hindsight over these last few days, in the moment, you know what I mean? I was bummed for Drew. I wasn't like bummed out because I like hate Roman or anything. I was just bummed because I am a fan of Drew, but I was fairly confident that it was the right decision when it happened. And the more time I've allowed it to sit in, I'm even more confident that they made the right move there. I mean, just let the bloodline ride, dude. Let it rock. They're so fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just feel like Roman and the bloodline are just on a different level than anyone else in the industry. There's no one that's on their level right now. And I think if they're gonna have Roman win, that was definitely the way to do it, was to have Solo Sikoa come out and help him. And it's funny because before the match, like I literally did not think he was gonna come out. Like I didn't even think that was a possibility. And then like before the match started, I was like, yo, there's like probably a 7% chance that Solo Sikoa comes out. And then it happened, which was pretty sick. So I mean, I think you hit the nail right on top of the head. Like just seeing Drew in front of his the home crowd, you definitely were pulling for Drew to win. And like in the moment, like yes, you wanted Drew to win. I wasn't that upset because I love Roman Reigns and I think he might be the best thing in all of professional wrestling right now. So I was happy that he was still the champ. Especially with Sikoa joining the bloodline. I just think in the moment you could just feel the energy in the crowd that was a little upset that Drew didn't win. And then after the match, something odd to say the least took place. Tyson Fury came out into the ring, hopped the barricade, and then he just shook Roman Reigns' hand, which I thought was extremely weird because then it just felt like Fury was going to turn on Drew, and then that didn't happen. And then they had like a weird thing in the ring where they were just like singing together. It's been reported that that wasn't supposed to be on air.
That's what I figured. I figured that it was.
Together.
Yeah, no, yeah. I figured that that was just like a thing for the crowd. Like it was supposed to go dark at that point.
Yeah. Because we were sitting there and it was just like, what's going on? And your friend Adam was like, out of context, this doesn't make any sense. And we were like, dude, in context, it makes no sense.
Yeah, we were like, this makes zero sense to everybody involved right now. I have no idea what's happening.
It was weird. Again, I don't think we were supposed to see it, so I'll let it slide. But it begs the question: who is Roman Reigns going to face next for the title? It's tough. Because like I feel like he's running out of people to face. Do you have any names off of the top of your head?
So they could do KO if they plan on really riding with that. If they plan on doing a storyline with him and Sammy. But other than that, man, like off the top of my head, it's gonna have to be something I think about. Like I might have to do like an article on it or something. Like who will be the person to take down Roman Reigns?
I think now this could be a little bold, but I feel like the only person left is Bray Wyatt.
Cody.
At WrestleMania after he wins the Rumble. I don't think he's gonna hold both titles all the way up until Mania.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally. He might though.
He could.
And if it's not The Rock, and if it's not The Rock, who is it gonna be?
I don't know. Because I think that they're gonna do KO.
Yeah, my bad.
I think KO and Sammy are gonna dethrone the Usos.
Yeah, I'd like to think so too.
As tag team champs, so I don't think it's going to be KO, but it also could be because
I don't think he'd be the one to dethrone him. I think they could put him against Roman
as the next challenger.
As the next challenger, just to like strengthen the storyline with him and Sammy. He's definitely not going to be the one to take him down, though.
Yeah,
I don't know who's going to take him down, dude.
I feel like
I really don't at this point.
I don't know if it's anyone that's on the current like
Cross, maybe.
Yeesh.
I think Braun Breaker.
I think because if you think about like, I think it could be Bray. Like 3 bold predictions: Bray, Cena, or Orton. All of those guys are not really
I think
with the company right now.
Yeah, I know. It feels like Orton. It feels like Orton was gonna be the guy.
I'm pretty sure I read some reports back at once he got hurt that he was set to beat Roman at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But there were also reports that he's going to be out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe he returns at the Rumble. That would be pretty sick.
Dude, I always pictured Cody versus Randy as like the main event for a title. So if we can have Randy somehow get the title before Mania, and then we have Cody versus Randy at Mania.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. That's how you got to do it, dude. Beats his old legacy mentor.
Yeah. So, if you have any ideas, feel free to shoot us a DM or drop a comment on our YouTube channel or on our Twitter or Instagram. Let us know who you think A is going to be the next challenger for the title, and B, who is going to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. So, Dillon, do you have any final thoughts about the Clash at the Castle pay-per-view?
No, just I was very happy with the pay-per-view overall. I really like the direction that WWE's going right now, and I'm really excited to see where they continue to go with this stuff right now.
Yeah, because SummerSlam was awesome, but Triple H just took over as head of creative like a week or so prior. So this was like the first real show where he had time to adjust some things. And so I think the future is bright for WWE, and I think we are in good hands for sure with WWE's product moving forward. So if you want to stay up to date with when we release new episodes, follow the Burning Hammer podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Burnt Hammer. You can follow Dillon on Twitter and Instagram at DillO'Brien_wave. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MarkIzzo_wave. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to it via audio streaming service, make sure to leave us a review and make sure to subscribe or follow whatever it is that your specific platform does. He's Dillon O'Brien. I'm Mark Izzo, and this has been another episode of the Burning Hammer podcast. Catch you in the next one.